Welcome back into the Capital Hoop Caucus on ESPN 630. Alongside Troy Halliburton and Isaac Harris, I'm Wardell McCabe. You know, we mentioned Kara Lawson in the last segment, Nova legend, like our very own Isaac Harris. Another Nova legend, Dave Grohl of the Foo Fighters. I'm only bringing him up because last Sunday, the Foo Fighters performed a surprise pop-up show at the Black Cat in D.C., so I'm experiencing some very serious FOMO right now. Kind of bummed out. But anyways, last week we started our series of positional group previews with the guards, and this week it's time for the wings. So we're going to review the off seasons and forecast each player's outlook and expectations for the upcoming season. We'll start first with a man whose name we've mentioned many times over the past few weeks, Kyshawn George. Isaac, what have you thought of George's offseason, and what are you expecting this coming season?
I think he had the offseason that we expected him to have, or that he should have after, an okay behind-the-shadow rookie season. He really showed out and really worked on his game. You saw the glimpses of it in Summer League. You really saw his game expand during the AmeriCup and really show he's like, hey, I could be the wing that you guys want me to be, the 3-and-D guy that can shoot and do everything. So I think this is a great offseason, and he really used that jump season to what it was actually for. He's like, I'm getting ready to work and get ready for this year.
Yeah, Kyshawn, to me, he was the most unheralded rookie of the three rookies from last year. And so I think that he probably had the most room for improvement within his game. And so, that automatically gives him like kind of a leg up on the rest of them because he had more to improve on, and he actually came out and got better. And so, when you looked at the fact that in the AmeriCup that he actually showed that he could handle the ball, he could, play make a little bit, and that, he still is, considered to be a premier defender for a guy of his age and size. I'm really excited to see what he can do with the opportunities that he'll have in front of him with Bilal Coulibaly being out to start training camp.
All right, let's move on then with Justin Champagnie. Troy, what are you expecting for Champagnie this upcoming season?
Yeah, I expect Justin Champagnie to continue building upon what he did for the Wizards last year. And going back and looking at, his stats, man, he actually, performed better than almost everybody on this list. When you look at the fact that he averaged 8.8 points per game, 5.7 rebounds, shot 51% from the floor and 38% from three. This is a guy who showed that, okay, I'm a professional basketball player. I am efficient, and I can go out here and I can and be versatile with doing many things. I can shoot the basketball, I can rebound the basketball, and I'm a tough-nosed player who's going out there and just trying to be a dog.
Yeah, no, I have to agree with him. Like, the only problem I have with Justin Champagnie is he's a Pitt graduate, but that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, it's Mountaineer Nation over here. That's my only thing with him. But Justin Champagnie has a reputation like his brother. They're both hard workers, and they're both relentless on defense. And because of their 6'6" frame, makes them perfect guys to be that 3-and-D wing that can say, "Hey, I'm stepping in when you guys need me, and I can get you a bucket if you guys need me." They're the perfect glue guys, and especially Justin here, especially in DC.
Yeah, that's one thing you can absolutely say for certain for the Champagnie bros is they make every single minute of basketball matter for them when they're on the floor. It's very fun to watch them. But let's move on now to Bilal Coulibaly, a player who we just mentioned is injured. Isaac, what are you expecting for Bilal?
Just to get healthy as soon as you can, man, and try to be less stubborn and know your role and know the mission. I think he did a disservice to himself by this is not even like official or anything, but from what I'm assuming from a basketball player mindset, he tried to play and represent for his country because he thought it was bigger than him. But, hey, this is a contract year for you. This is a big year for you to try to show that, hey, I'm part of this long-term future of the Wizards who has first-round draft picks, salary cap, all throughout the next couple of years. I want to be a part of that, and I think he should have been a little more selfish and rather than selfless, like representing his country a little bit. And hopefully he just gets healthy, and when he does get healthy, show out.
Yeah, I can't disagree there that he probably should have been a little bit more selfish because, you're going out there, you helping your country, but number one, you played poorly because you're out there with your hand wrapped up like the Michelin man, like it's all wrapped up to me I think that he is in a very precarious position because, like you said, it's his contract year. And, this is a guy who we know the things that he can do on the basketball court. He's a good defender. He's a good athlete. And, we're really waiting for him to show that he has an offensive game that would make him worthy of getting a healthy contract extension. And so, and in that case, you got to be looking out for yourself. Self-preservation is key.
All right, let's move on to Malaki Branham, player that they brought in this offseason through trade. Troy, where does a player like Branham fit with this roster?
Yeah, he got to make it. He got to make it real uncomfortable for everybody in training camp. He's one of those people you coming in. If you're a training camp body and you know that they got 6 guys that they were drafted by the organization. I'm not one of them. You got to come in and make it real uncomfortable for everybody in order to look out for self-preservation for yourself. And so if I'm Malaki Branham, I'm coming in. I'm harassing everybody. I'm hacking. Look, I'm coming in. I'm doing whatever. I'm getting there early. I'm staying late. I'm shooting. I'm doing whatever it is, whatever I got to do to show that I belong here, that I deserve to stay. That's what you got to do.
Hacking in training camp is crazy.
Look,
he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Trust me. Trust me, man. That's something that I agree with, and someone who's been through a tryout process or seen like that with pros. When I got my only one pro workout in Belgium, they were looking for that. They were like, okay, let's see if we're going to spend that money. How much effort are you going to give me? Are you going to come in shape? Are you going to do the little things that these star guys aren't going to do? So if I was Branham, hey, man, you better find a way to fit in.
You better get fitted for some football pads, for real.
You 6'4", averaging 5 points a game, between G League and everything. You better show that, hey, I can do more than what you see on paper.
All right, let's move on now to Anthony Gill, a player who's had a very interesting timeline this offseason. He was, released and then re-signed all in one offseason. Isaac, what are you expecting from Gill?
I hope he gets actually the going away tour. I not in a bad way, but I hope he gets that respect and honored more people show him love and everything, because I don't think I want to assume that this is possibly his last year playing professionally in the NBA. So I want to assume that they show him honor. He's a great vet, and they let him soak it up for the year.
I don't know how to respond to that.
Yeah, I honestly didn't think he was going to make it to this year. So I think Anthony Gill's job is to go out there and make sure that Malaki Branhams don't go out there and mess up the whole team. So he got to be the guy when the Malaki Branham out there hacking everybody. Anthony Gill got to go in there and be like, yo, we got to try. I know you trying to make the team, but that's what your leadership is here for. You know what I'm saying? That's you got to make sure that everybody else is good and make sure everybody getting there on time. Make sure, he's a coach on the floor.
He's supposed to be blowing up the group chat.
Yeah, exactly. For real. So that's
and this is no disrespect to Mr. Gill. We love you, man. I'm going to try to buy you a jersey, but out of respect. So, yeah.
All right, let's move on to Corey Kispert now. Troy, with Kispert now being one of the elder players on this roster, which is crazy to say, how do you think he still fits into the fold here?
I think that he still fits into the fold because, he's a shooter and, that skill set is at a premium right now in the NBA. And so, if he can just continue to develop that jump shot and then also develop other aspects of his game, continue to get better at cutting and finishing around the basket. The one thing that I would love to see from Corey Kispert coming into this season is for him to be able to get off the ball a little bit if he doesn't have his shot and actually create something for others. So that's not I'm not saying he got to be running pick and rolls or something like that, but can we get the assist? Can we get 2 assists a game? Two? That's and it's real easy. If you're a shooter, you're getting so much attention. You got to know that okay, sometimes maybe I'm not on tonight. Maybe I should kick that extra pass in the corner. And so if Corey Kispert can get his assist numbers up and he can stay consistent as a shooter, then I think that there's definitely a role for him on this team.
I have to agree that driving kick has to be bread and butter for him this year to really show, and that would actually increase his trade value because Corey Kispert is a serviceable player. He is someone that I think could be helpful for a playoff team if they can afford him. So for him, I think it's for him to show out and say, hey, I can do a little more than just spot up and shoot. I can be a target and get somebody else open and create an opportunity for that said person. And I'm hoping that he gets out of that stereotype that he's just the spot-up shooter. I don't think he is. I think he's actually a good athlete for the most part and show a little two-way. So I hope this is a year for him. He's like, you know what? I need to do this and be a little more, not only just be a good vet, but be selfish and show that, hey, I can do more.
All right, let's move on to another vet known for his shooting, Khris Middleton, another player they brought in this offseason. Isaac, do you think that there's a long-term future for Middleton here in D.C.?
To be honest, I think it's a mix. Like, yes and no. I think he stays the year and he shows veteran leadership because he is a little expensive, to be honest, and he's getting older. And when you're older and expensive, it's like, we're trying to stay away. So I think he does stay the season. Beyond that, I'm not too sure, but at least for the season, he's a vet that's like, all right, if one of these rookies is not like hitting or not being like on point for one of these games, he's someone that you can rely on and say, hey, I'm going to give you this and I'm going to try to keep the boat afloat. And then the rookies will probably look at it, or the younger guys will look at him like, all right, that's how he's doing it. We'll take lessons from that.
Yeah, with Khris Middleton, you said he's older and he's expensive and he's injury prone. Like, this is a guy who is definitely going to be on the Wizards roster for the entirety of the season. Like, the percentage chances of another team like trading for him is almost minuscule. Like, there's no team is going to trade for him and his salary, $30 million a year, for a guy who's old, expensive, and injury prone. I think that the biggest advantage that he can give to the Wizards is just by coming in and being a professional, and as you said, keeping the ship afloat, during those dog days of the season. And the thing that I do like about Khris Middleton is that he's a very underrated playmaker. He averaged 3.4 assists per game last year, and so when you look at the fact that this team is kind of struggling with being able to identify the point guard of the future. There's gonna be plenty of opportunities for him to be able to run pick and rolls and try to get other players involved. And so, I hope that he just comes in, he keeps it as professional as he can be, and he sets a good example for the guys that are coming in behind him.
Yeah, one of those people will be Will Riley, recent draftee. Troy, what are your expectations for the rookie year?
Man, I think Will Riley is going to be one of those cases where when Will Dawkins was talking about earn, not given, I think that, that players would get more opportunities in the G League. Like, you could probably, if there was a blank space there, you could probably insert Will Riley's name right there. Like, this is this is exactly who he's talking about. And so for Will Riley, I think one of the things that, his pre-draft, one of the cons that people were talking about him pre-draft was his lack of physicality. And so I would really just love for him to, just come out there, be able to play, gain experience, but, go through the, NBA weightlifting program to, work on his body and to be able to use those G League experiences as, a real stepping stone that'll help him in the future. So I'm not really looking as far as him coming in and contributing right away. He's young. He's still, I believe he's still 19 years old. So, this is a guy who, his future is paramount for the Wizards. And so him having a very structured rookie season where he can work on his body and actually get playing time, I think that'll be a good start to his career.
I think my biggest thing for Will is to become best friends with Khris Middleton and follow your fellow Canadian Kyshawn George everywhere like a puppy and really, really learn from those guys and go through the process. Do not rush this. You're 19. You're one of the youngest guys on this roster. And if they tell you go play in the G League, average 40 in the G League. If they tell you to do this, do that, hey, you're going to sit on the bench, you have to sit extra hours in the film room, you do that. Everything counts for Will because he has a lot of high potential, especially being at 19 and not a lot of weight on him yet. The sky's the limit with him.
All right, let's move on now to Jamir Watkins. Isaac, what are you expecting for Watkins?
I hate to say it, it's almost like Malaki Branham, man. Like, you got to be a little more physical and show that, hey, you deserve to be on this roster. You were a second-round guy and a fringe summer league guy. You weren't even the main featured of those guys. Like, all right, let's just see if he is. And because who knows if they're talking to you about other teams. Your goal is to stay in D.C. as a second-round pick, and it's hard for second-round picks to stay with their organization halfway through the year, especially when trades can go around, especially in the G League draft coming up. If I was him, try to scratch and survive, man.
Yeah, I'd get fitted for some elbow pads, some knee pads, get all the pads, shoulder pads, the rib cage pads, whatever, get all the pads. And you go out there and you just try to make life a living hell for the rest of the players. Like to me, his calling card and mark that he's going to leave on the NBA involves him being a dog. And so, you might as well start that now.
Ribcage pads, like Cam Newton.
Exactly.
I wore those. I wore those when I was playing in college. I wore those playing. Oh, yeah.
All right, let's close it out here. The final wing on the roster, Cam Whitmore. Troy, what do you expect for local man?
Whew, man, this Cam Whitmore, I believe, is the biggest wild card on this Wizards roster, but regardless of position. This is a guy who has shown that, okay, he can score the basketball in this league. But, for a team like the Houston Rockets, who is, fancies themselves as title contenders, like for them to, trade him away, like I think doesn't really bode well for, his perspectives as a all-around basketball player. And so what I want to see from him this year is we know you can score the basketball, but I want to see him be able to come in and focus on those other aspects of his game. I want to see him, he's never going to be an elite defender, but at least show that you can defend. He's never going to be an elite, playmaker and ball handler, but show that you can make plays and show that you can handle the ball. So I'm really like the scoring stuff. Like I don't care if he comes out and he drops 20 points a game and we win 10 games. Like that doesn't really do any good for the development of him or the rest of the team. Like I want to see him try to challenge himself in other aspects of his game and try to build himself up.
I have to agree with that. I think my biggest thing with Cam is if they ask you, this is a good time to prove that, hey, you are a pro, period. To show that you can do what's asked of you. Hey, we want more of you on defense, or we want more of you to score. We know you can score. Can you do other things? And I think that comes to the statement that Will Dawkins said, can you handle being back home in D.C. when everyone's telling you, oh, man, you could do more. You can do this. I don't know why they're holding you. And also just being in that distraction, all the noise, because I know the fans are going to come try to see Cam Whitmore. They're going to try to come see him. So I think that's something that can he block out the noise and do what they ask and be a pro's pro, this will be the best year for him in his career.
All right, well, that'll do it for this week's Positional Group Preview. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below or by texting into the show. And, hey, while you're doing that, go ahead and send along any questions that you may have for our show around the Wizards, because next week, not only are we reviewing the Washington's bigs, but we'll also be opening up the mailbag to answer your questions. You can do so by dropping a question in the comment section below on the YouTube video here, or by texting us into the show at 833-377-6630, or clicking message the show in the episode description of the podcast, or even by messaging us on social media. Where, Isaac?
At Cap Hoop Caucus and the Capital Hoop Caucus on X. Oh, so Cap Hoop Caucus on X, and then Capital Hoop Caucus on Instagram.
That's right. And as I said earlier, we have some merch, and so just by entering in, you have the opportunity to win one of these pins. Go ahead and pick that up right there, Isaac, and put it up to the camera right up close. That one right there, your chance to win those. Everyone is automatically entered in if you just submit a question. We'll follow up with you to try to get your address, and we'll take care of shipping and handling, everything on that end. You just focus on sending us a question, then you have the chance to win a pin right there. All right, we're going to go to commercial again. When we get back, we'll launch the full court press. Check in on the WNBA playoffs. You're listening to the Capital Hoop Caucus on ESPN 630 and the ESPN 630 app.